In the heart of Lisbon, the cobblestone streets once again became the stage for Portugal's most time-honored form of dissent: mass protest. Tens of thousands of people flooded the capital on a Saturday afternoon, holding red and white flags, beating drums, and chanting slogans that carried through the narrow alleyways and open squares. The demonstration, organized by the country's main labor union, was not just another show of discontent. It was a direct challenge to the new labor reforms proposed by Prime Minister Luís Montenegro's center-right government. What began as a rally against economic adjustments quickly evolved into a broader outcry about the direction Portugal was taking, as citizens voiced fears that decades of social progress were being rolled back under the guise of modernization. At the heart of the controversy lies the government's new labor reform package, which the administration insists is designed to boost flexibility and enhance productivity in the national job market. Prime Minister Luís Montenegro, who leads the centre-right Democratic Alliance, argues that Portugal's rigid labour framework discourages investment and innovation, and that the country must adapt if it hopes to remain competitive in a rapidly changing European economy. However, the reforms have drawn fierce opposition from the General Confederation of Portuguese Workers, CGTP, the largest and most influential labour union in the country. The CGTP and its allies view the reforms as a thinly veiled attempt to weaken worker protections, lower corporate accountability, and make it easier for employers to dismiss workers without cause. One of the most controversial provisions in the package involves simplifying the process of worker dismissal. Under the new rules, companies would gain more authority to terminate employees without lengthy administrative hurdles or costly severance proceedings. While the government frames this as a way to unclog the job market and make hiring more efficient, opponents see it as a dangerous erosion of stability for thousands of Portuguese workers. Portugal has long struggled with a dual labour market, one that provides job security to permanent employees while leaving temporary and contract workers vulnerable. Critics argue that the reforms will deepen this divide, creating an economy where workers are disposable and long-term stability becomes a privilege rather than a right. Adding fuel to the public anger are two proposals that have sparked outrage among women's rights advocates and family policy experts: limits on how long breastfeeding mothers can request flexible work schedules and the reduction of miscarriage bereavement leave. These measures, though presented as part of a broader effort to standardize workplace policies, have been denounced as regressive and insensitive. Activists point out that Portugal has been widely regarded as one of Europe's more progressive countries on labor rights and family welfare. Achievements they fear are now being undone. Women's organizations have accused the government of ignoring gender equity in policymaking, arguing that such rollbacks would have devastating psychological and economic consequences for working mothers and families. Economic concerns have also taken center stage in the protests. Portugal's minimum wage currently stands at €870, around $1,007 per month. A figure many say is inadequate given the steep rise in living costs over the past decade. Housing prices in Lisbon and Porto have soared by nearly 40% in 5 years, largely driven by foreign investment and tourism, leaving local residents struggling to afford rent. Protesters have demanded an increase in the minimum wage to at least €1,050, around $1,214, by 2026, arguing that a country's workforce cannot be truly productive if its basic needs remain unmet. The CGTP emphasized that workers are the backbone of Portugal's post-pandemic recovery, and policies that compromise their welfare could unravel years of progress in reducing poverty and inequality. The political backdrop behind the unrest adds another layer of complexity. Montenegro's Democratic Alliance governs as a minority administration in Portugal's 230-seat parliament, holding just 80 seats. This means the Prime Minister must rely on other parties to pass major legislation, including Chega, the far-right party that has surged to become the largest opposition group in the country. Chega's potential support for the Labour reforms has drawn concern from moderates and progressives alike, who fear that the government's dependence on the far right could shift Portuguese politics further toward populism. For many protesters, this alignment symbolized a dangerous political trade-off, sacrificing worker protections and social unity in exchange for legislative convenience. Saturday's protest, which drew tens of thousands from across the country, was one of the largest labor demonstrations Portugal has seen in recent years. Organized by the CGTP, the event united workers from various sectors: teachers, healthcare professionals, transportation employees, factory laborers, and public servants, all marching side by side under banners reading "No to the Labour Package." According to union officials, turnout exceeded 70,000 participants, underscoring the widespread anxiety about the government's agenda. The protest culminated in the announcement of a nationwide general strike scheduled for December 11th, signaling a major escalation in the standoff between the unions and the state. Organizers vowed to paralyze key sectors of the economy until the proposed reforms were withdrawn or restructured. The demonstration also evoked powerful historical memories. For many Portuguese citizens, the protest was not only about policy. It was about protecting the legacy of the Carnation Revolution of 1974, which overthrew the Estado Novo dictatorship and laid the foundation for democracy and workers' rights. The sight of carnations, the flower that symbolized that peaceful revolution, being waved alongside red Union flags, served as a poignant reminder of Portugal's enduring spirit of civic resistance. Protesters spoke of their struggle as part of a continuum of democratic vigilance, emphasizing that economic progress must not come at the expense of social justice. The government, meanwhile, faces a delicate balancing act, maintaining investor confidence and EU approval while preventing social unrest from escalating into a political crisis. As the December strike looms, the confrontation between Montenegro's government and the labor unions shows no signs of abating. The administration insists that reform is essential to safeguard Portugal's economic future, arguing that rigid labor laws could deter international investment and limit growth. Yet, public sentiment tells a different story, one of growing mistrust, economic frustration, and a deepening sense of inequality. Whether the government chooses compromise or confrontation will shape not only the trajectory of the labor reforms, but also the stability of the nation's political climate. For now, the message from the streets of Lisbon rings clear: a call for fairness, dignity, and the belief that progress should uplift, not undermine, those who build a country's future.